If you are ready to kick imposter syndrome to the curb, that is not what we're going to be talking about today. I am not going to teach you how to kick imposter syndrome to the curb. Sorry about that, but I am going to talk about how to work with this feeling that we are a fraud once in a while. Anyone? In a way that is actually fairly simple and extremely effective. So if you ever feel like you're pretending and you're afraid that someone might find out you're not as amazing as they think you are, ever feel that way? If you're ready to make that easier and actually have more self-confidence so that you can do things to really grow your business in a big way, then grab your coffee, because it is time to rise and it's always time to shine. So let's do this. All right. Hello. Welcome back to Rise and Shine, the weekly live stream that gives you creative ways to show up and shine as the unique, brilliant superstar that you are. I am Nika Stewart, your host, and I help you get the recognition that you deserve with short form videos. And today we are talking about a mindset that is extremely common, and it is one of the reasons why many people, including my clients, don't step in to do big things like video. Really big things that could take their business to the next level, could grow their presence to a bigger level, could get them more recognition, more clients, more money. They're not stepping in to do things that are effective because of this thing called imposter syndrome. And I'm going to talk to you about something pretty cool. It's kind of revolutionary, I think. It's a totally new way of thinking about it that has worked for me when other things weren't totally working as effectively for me as I wanted. First, let me say hello to all my gorgeous friends. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Jody. So good to see you. Hello, Maddox. Hello, Chrissy. Feel free to say hello to me and tell me where you are in the world. This is my second week in a row going live only on YouTube. So I normally would say, where are you watching me? Is it on Facebook? Is it on Twitter? Is it on LinkedIn? No, you are watching me on YouTube. If you're here live, if you're watching the recording, I don't know where you are. But tell me where you are in the world. I am in cold New Jersey, but not as cold as some other places that I have heard of. But it's still way too cold for me. I am planning a trip to a warmer climate. Hello, Alicia. So good to see you again. I love seeing your beautiful face. Yeah, so I would love to know, is it warm where you are? Is it cold where you are? Are you enjoying the weather? The weather is kind of a fun topic to talk about and pretty boring, right? So let's talk about what I'm here for. I'm talking about imposter syndrome. What is imposter syndrome? You probably have heard of it, but even if you haven't, or even if you have, what are we talking about specifically when it comes to imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is the belief, it's internal, that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. It's that feeling that, for example, you're about to give a big presentation to a group of people and you think they assume that I know what I'm talking about and that I'm really experienced and that I'm the best person for this job to talk to them, but I'm not as good as they think I am. And you then doubt your abilities because you fear that you're not as good as other people think and you're pretending. And the truth is, you have some experience and expertise, but you're doubting that you're good enough, right? You're feeling like a fraud because you fooled them into thinking, like, how did I get here? I must have faked it because I wouldn't have gotten hired to be here if they didn't think I was, but I'm not, so I'm a fraud. And here's the big one that comes up for me. I am worried that others will find out that I'm not as smart, not as experienced, not as expert as I'm pretending to be. That's where it's imposter syndrome. I am a fraud because they think I have pretended, I faked it. Somehow I slipped in and they think that I deserve to be here. Like I said, it could be you're speaking to a group of people and you're thinking they expect that I am the best one at this. That's why I'm here. That's why they hired me. That's why I'm speaking. Or sometimes in a group of people. I've been in mastermind and business groups, colleagues, where I think, how did they let me in? I am not as experienced as they are. I'm not as successful as they are. I'm not as good at this thing as they are. And what if they find out? So I guess I have to keep pretending? That's not a good feeling. So is that you? How does it show up? How does it show up in our life? First, Marcus is saying it is 0 Celsius, which is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like breaking point for cold, right? It's now going to get frozen out there. Stay safe, Marcus. That's kind of way much too cold for me. And we've had like, in the single digits this winter already here in New Jersey. I can assume in Lucerne, Switzerland, it can get pretty darn cold. So stay warm and bundled up and enjoy. Well, be outside because that's awesome too. The refreshing air and activity is awesome. But have extra cuddles this time of year. That's what I like to think about. This is the cuddle time. So is this you? Do you ever feel that perfectionism cripples your growth? I have, interestingly enough, found that there are people who say, no, I'm not a perfectionist, but they procrastinate because they're not ready. Let's talk about video. You know that creating more video will help you get more people to see you. You know that I talk about short form content, even if it's not short form videos, which are like the craziest viral way to get out there. But any kind of video gets people to know you, fall in love with you, want to work with you. You know you should be doing more of it, but you aren't ready. That's a form of perfectionism. Because the truth is, you are ready. But you think you're supposed to be someone else or more better at something before you're really ready. You're totally ready. Marcus says perfectionism is his downfall. Awesome. This is for you. Okay, I can't wait to get to this. Here's another thing that we as imposters think. You don't believe compliments. If someone says, oh, that was awesome, you're so good at that. Even if out loud you say thank you, you tend to think, oh, I fooled them. I'm not really. They don't know. Like every time someone compliments me on this, it's more proof that I am a fraud because I'm not as good as they think I am. I'm pretending. Anyone ever feel that? Totally for me. Falastine, you love the purple. Thank you. I love the purple too. It gives me happiness. So if any of these things are you, let's talk about something pretty cool. I have studied, I've done some research on imposter syndrome. I am not an expert on it. I am going now to tell you what has worked for me. But in getting ready for today, I did some research to find out how prevalent this is. And because it's not, a physical disease where you can take a test and see yes or no, you have imposter syndrome or you don't. It comes from inside. Someone has to say, I feel this way, I think this. So when studies are done to see how many people experience this phenomenon, this syndrome, most studies are different. Like it's not one study that says, here's it, 62% of people feel it. They're random, meaning they don't all match up, but it has gotten more and more that more people are feeling it. Some of that could be that people are feeling more comfortable admitting it, because it used to be that it was totally a women-only syndrome, and it is so not that anymore. And maybe it always wasn't, and men or masculine people were like too proud to admit it. I don't know. Again, I am not the expert in this. I'm just telling you what I've researched. Average, though, on what I've studied, about 82% of people claim that they do have these feelings, even if it's just once in a while. That's like almost everyone in the world, right? Marcus, who is a man, says, I procrastinate to deal with my perfectionism. Little time, I get efficient. So tell me what you mean by that. Little time, I get efficient. So if you have less time, you have to get efficient at getting things done. I think that's what you're saying. Yeah, we procrastinate to deal with our perfectionism. And this is a side effect, a symptom of imposter syndrome, because this happens especially, and it's more so devastating with people who are true experts and amazing at what they do and known in the world as an expert. People look up to them. It gets even harder, and they start feeling it even more, because what if I do something that isn't perfect? Then people will start to think I'm not as great as they think I am right now, right? Doesn't that make sense? The more you grow, the bigger you get, the more successful you get, you can feel this even stronger, where you think it should be the opposite, right? So it's devastating and debilitating, and I think of it as kind of a catch-22. In order to grow in life, but I talk with entrepreneurs, people growing a business, growing their presence online so more people know about them and want to work with them. In order to do that more and more and get bigger and more successful, we need to step out of our comfort zone. We need to do something that we're not comfortable doing. Otherwise, there's no growth. We're continuing to do things we've always done. There's no growth. In order to grow, we need to do something out of the comfort zone, which is uncomfortable, that can lead to growth. But when we step out of the comfort zone, there are things we've learned to do to feel better, to feel stronger and more confident in order to do those things that are uncomfortable. Some of it is we need to act confident in order to do this thing so that people do, I want to launch this new program that's bigger than I've ever done before. Or I want to step onto a stage and teach something, and it's big and new, and it's going to help me grow because it's a new audience or a bigger event than I've ever done before. Out of my comfort zone, and we have to add confidence and self-esteem. And that's where that imposter syndrome kicks in. Like, am I faking this and I'm not really ready for this? And so if we feel that way, many of us will tend to not take the step, because what if they find out I'm not good enough? Or what if I really am not ready? So we don't do it. But yet that's the only thing we can do to start feeling more confident. So we don't leave our comfort zone because it's uncomfortable, and then we never grow enough to make our comfort zone bigger so that we kind of prove to ourselves we're not good enough. It's a cycle, a vicious cycle, and it's debilitating, and it holds so many people back. So this is what has worked for me. And I am buzzing because it's so different from everything I've ever heard, and it finally clicked. And I want to start by telling you quickly a story. First, I have to see what Alicia said. I wanted to share with you that I did my first short form video based on your show last Friday, and I got over 700 views within 24 hours. I'm going to put this down so you can see my excited face. And I know I didn't do it right. Yes! You did do it right, but you didn't do it the way we all think is supposed to be perfect. People who know how to do it, like I focus almost all my time on short form videos. I'm not doing it perfect. No one does it perfect. And the more perfect we try to make it. We worry about it. We tweak it. We try to make it perfect. Those videos do not do as well. Congratulations, Alicia. I am so, so excited for you. Would you tag me? I haven't seen it. I don't know if you tagged me, but I haven't seen it. Please go to your video and put my name in. Tell me where it was. It was it on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever it is, tag me. I am so excited. I want to support you and I want you to do so much more. That's so, so fun. Thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. So, okay, so quick story is that many of you know who you follow me. Oh, TikTok, yay. About 2 years ago, I started a journey with cancer and cancer treatments. And what I did somehow in my mind was get through it with optimism and joy and positivity. And it felt good, meaning I actually went through, I'm still going through it, but the hardest part of 2020 to early 2021 was the most difficult part of my journey. And yet it honestly felt like an adventure. I found joy, I found humor, and I think that made it so much easier for me and easier for my family, eased their worry. So I last year went on a live stream, and thank you, Alicia. I went on to talk about, how to, when life hands you lemons, how do you make lemonade? So, how do you get through a difficult situation? Not just make it easier, but actually add more joy to your life, using that to add more joy. So, I started talking, and several people started typing in, way to go. You are such a fighter. You're a warrior. You fought cancer. You kicked its butt. And as I was reading the comments, I suddenly realized something that I hadn't really put into words. It's the first time that I actually realized I never thought of what I was going through as a fight. And that was really weird because I don't know anyone else who felt that way, because anyone who talks about going through cancer, they talk about fighting it. We need to fight cancer. If we get through, or while we're going through, we're a warrior. I do happen to like the word warrior. I don't see it as being at war. I think of it as a strong person. But when we're talking about fighting, the word warrior means you're fighting it. You're going to beat it. You're at war with this enemy, and you are going to kick its ass. You're going to really pound it down and win. You're going to kill it so that it doesn't kill you. But I didn't have those thoughts. And I don't know specifically why. Now, I am writing on my upcoming book, which is all about my journey and how to get through difficult times with optimism and joy and positivity. A lot of the chapters are about this specifically, about what I did and why I did it and how you can do it. But it all comes down to the fact that I did not go through this journey seeing it as a fight. I honestly saw it as a journey, and cancer was a companion, not an enemy. So, and I love Alicia, thank you for being here. It was a different experience. So yeah, and I didn't at first know that's what I was doing, but I know now that that's a big part of how I got through with joy, because I was on a journey with a companion rather than fighting an enemy. So, about a year ago, as I was going through this and realizing that this was what I was doing, I went on to Clubhouse. And I was about a year or so ago, I was, got obsessed with Clubhouse and was on all the time. And one topic, a title of the room was Make Friends with Imposter Syndrome. And my first thought was, yeah, right. I want to get rid of imposter syndrome. Why would I make it my friend? And my second thought was, oh, isn't this my philosophy? And then my third thought was, I want to see if this guy who's teaching this could actually help me see that imposter syndrome is my friend. I want to, because I realize that this is how I get through things and it's effective, but it seemed impossible. So I embraced the challenge. Like, I wanted to challenge him. Here's the problem. I don't remember his name, and I've been looking for him ever since. So this this technique that he taught is not mine. And one day I'm going to come back and tell you who he was. So I'm going to share it with you, telling you it's not my technique, but I use it, and I want to share it with you because it's so effective. So if I could get through chemotherapy by making chemotherapy my friend, I want to learn how to deal with and how to manage imposter syndrome, because it is holding me back from doing amazing things. When I see people getting on giant stages, when I see people writing books, when I see people launching six-figure programs, why am I not doing that? It's because I think I'm not good enough. And how do I change that so it's my friend and I flip it and I can do all of that? So here's what happened. I raised my hand in this room, and the amazing gentleman called me up and said, what do you think? What are your thoughts when this imposter syndrome comes up? So you're about to do something big, or you're in a group of people. What are the thoughts in your head? And I'd love to hear from you. What are the thoughts in your head when this feeling of fraud, of faking it, of imposter syndrome come up for you? What are your thoughts? And what I said was, the main thought in my head is, I don't belong here because I'm not the most qualified. I'm not as good as the other people. Someone else is better at this than me. I don't belong here. And so he asked me this question that, okay, I'll ask you. He said, think about what you had for breakfast this morning. So what did you have for breakfast this morning? Tell me. I usually can't even remember what I had a few minutes ago. I do know what I had for breakfast this morning. Nothing. I had nothing for breakfast. I had coffee. I had coffee for breakfast this morning. So far, I usually don't eat breakfast until afternoon. So, but he said, okay, what did you have for breakfast this morning? I told him. He said, what did you have for breakfast all week? What are all the breakfasts you've had? Think about that and let me know. What are some of the breakfasts you've had? Like, did you have bacon and eggs? Did you have cereal? Did you have toast? Did you just have coffee? Think about them. And it doesn't matter if you don't remember all of them. Just think about some of the things you've had for breakfast. So I thought, he said, okay, you got a bunch of breakfasts from the past week? Uh-huh. He said, okay, so how many of those breakfasts that you've had in the past week were the best? Like the best in the world, the best breakfast you could ever have? And I said, well, none of them were the best breakfasts in the world. Like, there are certainly better breakfasts out there. I did not take the time in the past week to create the best breakfast in the world for myself. And he said, but did you enjoy your breakfasts? Were they satisfying? Were they what you wanted at the time? Were they what you needed? And I said, obviously, it's what I wanted. I grabbed it. I had it. I was fine. It gave me sustenance, nutrition, what I wanted. And he said so should all of those breakfasts feel, and I don't think he said this, but I think about it, should each of those breakfasts, like I had a bagel and cream cheese, should the bagel and cream cheese think, I can't be breakfast for Nika. I am not, there are much better breakfasts. None of the breakfasts thought that, and I didn't think that. So here's where it got really interesting. He said, now let's think about you thinking, I don't belong here because there are people who are better than me. What should you be thinking about that? And then I waited for him to say all the things that I've always heard. The things that I have always heard to say to myself are, Yes, you are, Nika. You are good enough. Let's go back and look at all of in order to feel better, look at all the testimonials from happy clients. Think about all your friends you've helped. Think about the things you've done that have been good. You are good enough, Nika. But he did not say that. He said, when you think, I don't belong here, there are people who are better than me. That's true. That's not incorrect. There are people better than me. There are people who are more experienced than me. There are people who have something else to say that might be more appropriate now or at another time. There are people. Yes, there are people better than me. This is where it started to click for me, where imposter syndrome is not my enemy. Imposter syndrome is telling me the absolute truth. Not necessarily that I don't belong here, but I don't belong here because there's people better than me. Yeah, there are people better than me. There are people who have been working on this for years longer than I've been working on this, whatever I'm about to teach. Not but. Because it's usually like, there are people who are really good, but I'm good too. No. There are people who are better than me, yes. And I have something to say also. Not better than them. Not that I shouldn't be here or they should be here instead, or not I should be here instead. There is not one good breakfast. There is not one amazing, perfect, the best breakfast in the world. There's lots of things that are satisfying, and me too. And the feeling in my body when I realized that this really was the same thing. I am not fighting cancer. I am going on an adventure. And cancer is here to teach me, to help me grow stronger. And it really did. If I was fighting it, I would not feel more empowered and stronger. If I fight imposter syndrome and say, but I am good enough, then imposter syndrome gets stronger. If someone is going to punch you and you stand rigid and say no, that hurts. But if you say, oh, and you flexibly bend with it and go with it, this becomes weaker. If I am rigid, this is going to get stronger and push harder. If I say this is like, there's no force behind it anymore. When I started thinking about imposter syndrome and all of those thoughts that come up in my head as a friend and go, whatever those thoughts are, like, you're not good enough. I can say, oh, thank you. I'm not good enough for this. Okay. Well, I'm going to do it. But that's a really good point. I should work on that. Or I'd like to get better at that. And then the next time I show up, I'm going to be even better. Thank you, imposter voice. Thank you. And the next time it's not so strong because it's like, there's nothing to fight against. It gets weaker each time and the imposter voice starts getting quieter. So that is the simple technique for not fighting imposter syndrome, but welcoming it as a friend. And then it becomes a much weaker friend or a friend that is there to really work with you with a quieter voice, not to hurt you. Imposter syndrome is not there to hurt you. Did you know that it has been shown that the people with the highest degree of proficiency feel imposter syndrome a lot more than people who are not qualified? Doesn't that make you glad you have that voice? It proves that you are more proficient and that you care about being an expert. People who actually just want to fake it, they don't feel this. So if you feel it, it means you are an expert and you care about being the best you can be. That's a really good friend. So I am so happy to have imposter syndrome as my friend. There are days when it's kind of shouting, and I have to remember to thank it. But more days than it used to, it's really quieter. It's much quieter, and sometimes I have to remind myself, I used to be so unsure about doing what I'm doing right now. But I grew my comfort zone because I listened to the imposter voice and thanked it and made it my friend, and it started getting quieter. And that's my wish for you. And when it comes to doing more videos, if that voice gets quieter and quieter, you do more and more videos and you get more and more visibility and you have more and more people fall in love with you and you have more people to reach out to make offers and grow your business. I think we've just created the dream. And all we have to do is make imposter syndrome our friend. That is what I wanted to share with you today, my friends. I am so, so grateful for all of you for sticking around and for giving me your amazing comments. By the way, if you're still here, if you want a summary of today's show because you didn't take all the notes and you just want to hear some of what I had to say, or you missed some of it, just give me a hashtag notes and I will come back later today or tomorrow when our notes are complete. We gather up what I've said today and put it into an article. I will send that to you so that you can have this recording and the notes, bullet points, so that you get the basic points. Just let me know. And if you are kind of kicking this to the curb, but by making it your friend, and you want to create more videos that go viral, like the videos that I've created and that my clients are creating that are reaching millions of people. And last week I created a video and it's up to 3.7 million views. What? You want to learn how to do it? Go to nika.live/VBI. If you want a little more high-level hand-holding, just reach out to me because I have a few spots left. I'm working with a few people who want one-on-one work, and I create their scripts, their topics, their videos, edit with them, and we're creating videos. Just let me know. Julie, oh my gosh, so amazing to see you, and right back at you, my beautiful rock star friends. We need to catch up. Julie. All right, we're going to talk later. That's everything. So I am here live every Friday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Figure out the time for where you are in the world. And so until next Friday, please don't forget all of these things. Choose happy, share joy, and shine your brilliance unapologetically. Because the world needs more you, not the you think you're supposed to be, but you. So until next Friday, have an amazing week, my beautiful friends. I will see you soon.